use a finger, do you?
You can trust this armor like your life depends on it. Because it does. You can trust this armor like your life depends on it. Because it does.
No me acuerdo muy bien.
Gloves of all types.
Fixes que hay. Quería tener el Shred Effect. Hombre, poner 3 o 4 stacks de Shred creo que es más importante que un poco más de efecto. Tampoco es que pueda poner demasiados stacks.
Gauntlets, gloves.
This armor is tough, dependable.
Lethal Mirage. Shred. no está mal. ¿Tiene cuánto? 44. Pero, ¿por qué hay tanta diferencia entre el de tier 5 y el de tier 6?
You can trust this armor like your life depends on it. Because it does.
Casi lo mismo. El 100 por tener bastante Shred Effect. Y el Shred normal. Pero la cosa es... Si meto más stacks, cuanto más efecto tenga, mejores son los stacks. Pero si, digamos que puedo meter 20 stacks. O bueno, no. Que si meto 2 stacks de una hostia, luego la siguiente igualmente pega con las 2 hostias. Realmente 17% de vida y 100 de vida. Creo que me quedaría con lo otro. En vez de Poison Resistance, quiero Lightning Resistance. Y creo que voy a comprar los dos. Pero no ahora.
Gloves of all time. Protect your hearts.
Two-handed sword y two-handed sword, ok. Y los tengo, esto no sirve para nada. Quiero un Tome of Elements.
The very secrets of the universe. Just a few gold and they're yours.
Ya, pero creo que 11 Weaver's Wheel no va a hacer mucho.
Belts built to hold more than I've got a lot of offers on this one, I do.
Voy a mirar a ver.
Peace out.
Em, Vale, 2 de 6 no hay. 7 poco. 5, me queda 1. Bueno. ¿Cuántos millones? 500 de oro, what? Queda bien porque le puedo craftear. Me toca tener cuidado. Tiene más discrimination. En un momento sí. Está en YouTube. Ya está. Va. Mm.
Gauntlets, gloves, mitts, grips. Claymore. Quality. Right down to the hilt.
Lul. Literalmente. Otro es Battle Mage. Lo que.
Gloves of all types. If you want it.
Oh, that one's pretty.
Hombre, en verdad esto es lo único que puede meter Blitz. ¿Verdad? Podría quitarme estos puntos. No, pero... Es que... Con el flow y lo otro... Flow y Lethal Cadence.
Yes. Hello?
Voy a matar a... Tío, por Dios. Bueno, voy a primero mirar. Un momento. Los ídolos. Cuanto más están hypados.
Come on, grab a pair of grabbers.
Esto. Mil.
take a look. I know I have what you
Mel
need
Burns.
somewhere
Crit.
here.
1. 200.000. Entiendo. Tienen 2. Caros tienen 2. That explains a lot.
Gauntlets, gloves, mitts, grips.
Ya, güey, siempre son 2 ataques y luego el Lethal Mirage es mucho mejor. Porque tienen que ser 3. Me toca poner la ballesta. Bueno. Voy a vender todas estas mierdas ya para nada. Voy a pillar. Estas llaves de estas. Aunque lo podría haber vendido lo otro.
search. No matter. They cannot reach me. How is this possible? You carry the Epoch then? A fool like you has no use for it. The Epoch! I will have it! Die! The future! Nice!
Okay. So last game. Encima la he liado. No he usado el chariot bien, creo.
Intruders? A waste of time. Such power. There is only one explanation. The shadows.
Holy shit.
Epoch, I will have it. The future cannot be. Sapphire waters. Escape is impossible.
I suck at this game, but still. Hello everyone, Taylin over here, and this is a new installation of my Lightning Mirage, well, let's say Lethal Mirage with Lightning. First of all, I'm going to show you a tier 4 Juldra that I just killed. you can see here because I can put the omnis in the machine thingy. And if you like it, you can play it. I'm going to explain the combo. I even messed up the first one and the other ones too, kind of, but it still has a lot of damage. And ideally, even without huge gear, because most of my items are 1 or 2 LP, except my chest that dropped with 3 LP. And my 2 weapons only have 1 damage LP, so it will be like 1 really. So let's roll the clip and see if you like the build. It's of course a thing from the here. Okay. Anything. No sé por qué, no sé. Mm. Hello everyone, Achain over here, and I bring you the final installation of my Lightning Lethal Mirage build. Of course, I'm going to finish the build between today and tomorrow in Last Epoch Tools, and I will leave it in the description. Also, the planner will already be up when I post this video, and I also will explain some things because this chest that I have is not really the best chest. You really want Earthed Sprite, but let me show you first to get your attention a tier 4 Julra clip that I just killed. You can see here I have my Omnis ready and it's available, so you know that it's a tier 4 Julra, also because she's kind of tanky. So let's roll it. I actually messed up the combo 3 times, so I was just nervous. It's the first time that I killed the tier 4 with this build, so give me some leeway. Okay, we have it there. She's dead, and as you can see, we have many mechanics that we play around with. I'm going to explain them and then do the items that you want, mods that you want, and everything like that. I'm also at the end going to explain more or less how you want to put the skills in your build and the rogue and blade dancer tree. Those will be a little bit more because they are for the kind of build itself. Also, how you're going to put the points. The most important things will be now at the beginning, and it's our gear and skills. How we are going to skill our things. Also, completely ignore this ballista. This was a relic of past times when I still used it to get the lethal cadence up. So it's not an important ability. You can put a smoke bomb or decoy. This is like a free skill that you can use. You can even put an explosive trap and do some interesting things. Like on Orobis, you can preload them and then they will explode and give things. So let's check the abilities first. Our main attack ability is going to be Lethal Mirage, but first let me get my Omnius back. And I got a shit mod, it is what it is. And now, of course, one really important thing is we actually don't need Omnis. I just got it because it filled all my resistances and it's a really comfy item to have. Our neck can be a perfectly fine critical multiplier, or this that I have, elemental, lightning, frailty. You really want shock or other things, but you can use perfectly a rare neck, a rare helmet, also rare gloves, because if you want to push in, you actually don't want to get extra damage taken, but fighting chance are really nice gloves to have. They have a lot of damage, and I got a 3 LP ones for kind of cheap, so I've used them. Now for Siphon of Anguish, you also don't need a 3 LP or 4 LP. Getting a 2-1, it's also not super hard. I have mana regeneration, health, I also had lightning regeneration and elemental resistance. In general, because I want Orsil Sprite of my real chest, but I messed up like 3 of them, and now I'm poor. I don't have money to buy more of them. Of course, if you are Koth, getting a 3 LP, Kestrel or Ursil Sprite works, but without Ursil Sprite it's going to be really hard to get more of coated blades. We already kind of tap out on mana. As you can see here, if we put 1 or 2 more points, you still kind of do that, but it's not recommended. For Lethal Mirage, this is our points that we want to have because we have a relic that gives us +4. This +4 is really important. The dancing strikes one is whatever, you can have critical multiplier or things there. Are for relics that we want to have, the unique ones. Of course, the best one is going to be the Gambit of an Erased Rogue. It gives +1 to all of our abilities, and Lethal Mirage has really good points. For example, I'm not using the physical damage point, of course, because we use Shocking Grasp, but remember this only converts the base damage. This added damage is not converted. That's why our last point will come here in Ravage Mirage. As for other things, our boots are Bion's Chariot. They are really hard to get with LP, so just do like me and spam some arenas or buy them kind of cheap. I bought them because they had 40% more damage, but it's not a super rare drop itself. You have like 30 something % chance to drop in from Bion. It's not difficult to get. All of my gear can be farmed somehow or another. My helmet, +4 to synchronize the strike, not needed at all. Because our points, last points in synchronized strike are whatever, are actually area and 1 extra point here in Razor Strikes. So with a +2, it's okay. Of course, you can also get really good mods like extra shred and other things. I had, of course, % health and health, and as you can see there, they are tier 3 and tier 4. They are not hard to get. You can even get a cool sealed affix if you manage to get it. Of course, try to get it on a prefix. Same things with your gloves. You can use a cooldown reduction gloves or mana gloves. Same thing with your boots until you get the Bion's Chariot. Now for our Shattered Chains, 1 LP, and try to get cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is really good because Shift and Lethal Mirage get really good mileage of it. And when you actually get your Ulti Sprite and a lot of mana regeneration, you can actually do the combo quite a lot of times. As you can see here, I'm running out of mana, but you can just keep doing it all the time. Of course, I have to also talk about how the combo works and how we get our extra damage and hit huge numbers. Even if we mess up the combo somewhat, we have a lot of multipliers. Now, this is also a filler point, Umbral Braids, but they kind of help to get some bleed, shock, chill with this one, they call Snap Strike, and they are an all-around good support. Same thing with dancing strikes. Here we have an extra 60% chance damage to our Lethal Mirage. We also get some critical multiplier, some percentage global damage, and some more damage. Of course, we only get one hit, but that still gets some armor shred and armor shred stacks here. And for our shift, we have, as you can see here, all of the power when we shift and use our ability. If you don't know what these do, this is extra more damage. Bleed, that actually doesn't work because we have this choking grasp, but it lets us cap all of our stacks of shock really easily. We get the 5 stacks, the 10 stacks of shock super fast. Now this of course doesn't work. Then always crit. This goes through crit avoidance, kind of. To get really rid of crit avoidance, you also need some crit vulnerability, but it's not really important. And unless you push super high corruption, you are only going to get at most 40%. Now, the flying points, you of course will take out the mana here first, apart from all other things. So even if you don't have Kestrel or Omnis and you only have 20 on shift, it's okay. Now we talk about all of the abilities. I'm going to talk now about our Rogue tree. Our Rogue tree, it's kind of something that goes around and comes around. Of course, as you can see here, we get lethal cadence, 100% increased damage, good. Dodge and parry, dodge and glancing blows. Here we get this point to be able to get lethal cadence. We love dexterity, we love health. Dodge rating, free poison resistance, helps a lot on get other suffixes. Less damage, really good. That's why you saw me all the time moving. You get less damage when you move. It also works with Wings of Argentus, they are multiplicative. This agility is one of the things that we will use on our combo. We get this haste and also increased damage per movement speed, the same mod as in Bion's Chariot. So as you can see here, usually have 53% move speed. Then if I get haste somehow, I will get 30% extra, but just as we shift because of one ability, we get an extra 50%. That, of course, that means it's 100% extra damage. Then, of course, when we have more mana regeneration, you ideally would have it as at least on one ring, maybe on gloves. On the chest, you could get mana, but it's not really good because it's a prefix, and you really want to get or armor shred and lethal mirage, or effect of armor shred, or damage with daggers. Those, all of them are really good mobs that you can get. And Here you get coated blades as much as you can sustain in one combo. You see me here with 2. I could actually get to 3, but I will go to negative mana, and then I will not be able to shift and dodge abilities for a little bit. That can be fatal many times. This point is also kind of good, but I'm not using it because I want to feel more here. Now, our floater points are on this one, on Pursuit, until you get to 5. So we have 2 floater points there, and then every else is kind of needed, let's say. This is really good, dexterity and glancing blows. This makes us get to 31% glancing blow. Those shrouds and health, 1 point to get the 200% dodge to glancing blow. Eventually, if you get the right blessings and some gear with it, you can actually cap the dodge things. I'm going to talk about blessings a little bit later. First, let me finish on this. Now, flow. This is of course filled because we want this 200% increased damage. This is only 1 point to be able to get to tempo. And then we don't use this because we actually can't bleed, and we already always crit when we consume flow. And also it would mess up our lethal cadence things, and I actually was breaking my head a lot of the time trying to make it work with the 5 flow instead of 4, when I could just take it out and play without it. Now, of course, damage while we are on full health, really good. We are immune while we are using Lethal Mirage, so this and some leech from our Siphon of Anguish makes it. Of course, you can also use a pot to get to full health, and this is 90% damage, a lot of damage per point. Same thing with Perfection. We are immune while we are using Lethal Mirage, so if we get some stacks of Perfection, we do a lot of extra damage. We get 2 stacks of Perfection per hit, so you want to hit with your Synchronized Strikes and with your Dancing Strike. And then of course, Armor Shred, it's really good. You can actually drop these 5 points and get more damage, but I really want to get, I already got 80% frailty, so I might as well get that. And also, I still don't have Ursul Sprite, so that extra mana regen is actually quite useful. Ideally, you would want like 30 or something like that mana regeneration, and you will be able to, of course, ignore this point and get more survivability from the Falconer tree or other places. Now, as for Death's Door, one of the best points for Rogue, makes it quite durable. You can also get some confidence. When you have 10 stacks of Perfection, it's actually a lot of extra armor and dodge. But it's not a huge point. Of course, if we play with Apostasy, we don't play Argent Veil, we already have Leech from Siphon of Anguish. These are floater points that you can get some extra damage with. We don't want Bleed because we already make Bleed. We don't want Flat Fees because we actually scale with Lightning. Same thing here with Bleed and Poison, we don't care. We don't do damage with Shadows, we don't care about this. Critical Strike Multiplier, really good. We don't care about our damage, that is not Critical Strikes. And then the extra Shadow to be able to have 5 Shadows. Also here, you get some critical vulnerability that you don't really care about that much, but it helps a little bit with the critical avoidance mod. And now we have 5 points in Falconer with more damage with haste and chance to gain haste. Now, let's get to the last point of the normal things. Blessings. This blessing is not important, neither is this. Same here. Physical resistance. As you can see here, you can get physical resistance or other ones. I think this is like freeze or things like that. I put physical resistance because this way it's way easier to cap our resistances. Of course, we don't really care about endurance threshold, frostbite, chill. Armor could be really good if you already have the the point here, and also chill if you don't have the frost blades thingy. It can also be interesting. We don't care about dots, so these are not important, and I don't really care that much about this either. All resistances, I think it's the best one from here, but you can also get the critical strike avoidance one if you already have all your resistances capped. Also, you can have the poison resistance, and where is the minion or resistances? They also have here to shred physical on this one or the other one. Or here, necrotic resistance to poison damage, you don't care. Physical damage, you actually don't care because remember you are lightning. This is the most important one that you should try and farm. Shred lightning resistance. It's our only way to get shred, and it's also quite good. You can see here, you shred 5% and it stacks to 10. With our blades running around and our Lethal Mirage, we stack it to 10 quite fast. Of course, it's less important against bosses. It's only 2%, but it's still the strongest blessing. Apart from this one, it's really good. It helps me a lot to cap my resistances. Now let's talk about what we want to prioritize and how we are going to put our points. I'm going to begin with the normal tree. As you know, you need to get to level 20 here in the rogue tree to be able to get to the blade dancer tree. Of course, Lethal Mirage is also not going to be available until we get quite far in the blade dancer tree. So how we are going to actually level? I leveled using Flurry. It's one of our basic abilities. It's really good. You can spam it and you get free mana from it. Of course, I went the Adrenaline Rush way, meaning I could just spam it and forget about everything. You can also do shurikens. They are also really good. You can just put the blade shield and just run around with it. Some people do puncture. You can just level with a bow and puncture. It's really easy and also really comfy. A lot of people have done really good guides on these things. I'm not going to focus on those. I just went Flurry until I could get Dancing Strikes. And then I leveled with Dancing Strikes. Dancing Strikes, as you can see here in my tree, it's a little bit different on how you want to level. You want to level, you are going to put 4 points in slicing and then get to Dark Blades. After going to Dark Blades, you are going to come here to Cutting Corners and then go upwards to Shadow Steps to get the extra shadow when you do attacks. Afterwards, you are going to get all of the global damage things and just spam your Dancing Strikes while shifting out and in. Of course, when you get Umbral Blades, you are also going to level them. And you are going to begin going instantly to Sword Thrower. And just ignore kind of while you level them. Then you are going to go to Umbral Remnant, so they are on the ground. Afterwards, you can recall them to damage until you get to Cacophony of Steel. They make them a Blade Storm. It's a melee attack, kind of, that hits enemies. As you can see here, when we use, we get 3 maximum, and they do damage in an area, and they apply our things that we find important. Of course, afterwards, you are going to come here, so they move and seek enemies and have more area. And the last points are going to go here to get the chill things. And the last 5 ones, or you can carry 3 if you only have 20, will go here to get the chains and haste on recall. You can, of course, recall them if you want with the ability. Here, and then you recall them and you get some haste. It's quite cool, but I don't really use it at all, so use whatever. Now, let's go into the synchronized strike. Synchronized strike is something you are going to use quite often while you level. I recommend, of course, that you ignore all of these plays because it's only to get a killing threshold on mobs. And first we are going to get 1 point here, then 2 points here, and then the dark allies. So you get extra shadows for when mirages are important. Then you get 2 points in Razor Strikes, and the 3 in Crimson Storm. Crimson Shrouds, if you don't know what they do, they give you extra bleed chance and less damage taken from dots. You have maximum of 3, and it's really good because it lets you stack bleed really easily. Of course, there are some trap points like this one that makes your shadows expire early. Don't get that one. We actually don't use attack speed, so this is not that important either. You can of course use it while you still level with Flurry or Puncture, but it's not that good. Now for Lethal Mirage. First of all, you are going to get all of your Mirage online. So you are going to come here. This is the easiest one to get. At this point and then these two. You would ignore Gloom and Doom and get more Mirages from here. You could get from up here, but it's not recommended because remember you are going to get Shocking Grasp. But while you level, this flat damage is better than this. Then you are going to get 2 points in here, 2 in here, and Amber Expanse. While you level, I do recommend that you get the killing threshold and maybe even the shadow cascades and the extra shadow because they kind of help a little bit. Of course, if you get this killing threshold, don't get the Sundering Blows yet. And of course, you also want to get the penetration. It's one of the strongest things that the tree has apart from the Sundering Blows. But if you can get bleed from anywhere else, you are going to get your Mirages first, really important. You are not going to care while you level that much about eating shadows and getting extra damage per shadow because you will not have really the good mana regeneration that you have. Of course, if you are really savvy and equip 2 rings with mana regeneration and also your gloves and you have like 16, it's enough to spam Synchronized Strike or even get the chest mod for less mana. You can, before going up here, get the Shadow Eater and Umbral Fist. This is actually the node that gives the most damage because it's 40% more per shadow, and you consume 5 shadow is 200% more damage. This is 60% more damage, also getting 20 bleeds on the target. It's really important. That's why we want this Crimson Shroud and these blades swirling, and that is everything for the abilities. Now, the combo itself and all the mechanics. I'm also going to do a flash video about that, but I'm going to put it here because I find it important. Now, we are going to have 4 parts to this combo. First of all, I'm just going to show really fast. You want to begin with 0 lethal cadence. Also, ignore all of these things that just procced. I'm going to explain why. Lethal cadence makes it so you do 100% extra damage. It's a good percentage and it's not really hard to proc while you are on a boss. You don't need to carry that much about afterwards. There are other things that are more important, but it's really good to have in mind. So we are going to begin with a Synchronized Strike, and then ideally you wait a little bit and then do a Dancing Strike, Shift, and then lastly your Lethal Mirage. Why do we do that? It's because all of our abilities are movement ones and they proc Bion's Chariot and also Julra's Star Dial. You want ideally a Julra's Star Dial with extra lightning damage, like I have. If you don't have extra lightning damage, you could also use an Oceron or just a rare drink with cooldown reduction and stats and maybe put some lightning damage and elemental damage there or something like that. I was using Ocearon before, but it's a quite rare drop, so I think I'm just going to drop it and not care that much about it. You can also use a Font of the Erased for a while until you get a good star dial, but it drops a lot from Julra and you just keep slamming lightning damage into it until it works. This is for 1 LP. For 2 LP, you want, of course, elemental damage. That will be the ideal thing, but if you can get it on your 2 fixes, you want lightning resistance or all elemental resistance. These are the 4 mods that we kind of want, because they work with Ursel Sprite. You can, of course, if you don't get those ones, don't worry. You can always try to get other resistances to cap your places. So these 2 help a lot of damage, because this is tripling the increased lightning damage, giving us going from 300 to 500%. It's quite a big one. And then I'm going to show now the combo again, but well, we're going to synchronize strike, then wait a little bit and use dancing strikes. Why do we wait a little bit? It's because of this part of the tree and also this one, because you have 4 seconds. This is not that important, but this one only lasts 2 seconds. So you will get this extra thing. You also get some global bleed. These one are the first that you would drop from the extra points. They only affect the swirling blades and not many things. You also want, of course, the critical multiplier and the more damage in general. So you're going to go. And if you do everything right, you should get all of your damage and also inside the Julra's star dial. Please, I'm going to do this again. You really want to use the shift before the Bion's Chariot expires. Just before, so you get the Bion's Chariot on your Lethal Mirage, because otherwise it's going to happen like it happened to me in the clip, where I use shift, and then in my case I used actually Lethal Mirage too soon, so it didn't get buffed from Bion's Chariot, so I lost a multiplier of 40% more damage. So that is everything. Of course, it's quite a lengthy video, but I think it's worth it. I will, of course, do a written guide, and everything will be in the description after I do it. It's going to be up most likely this weekend, no later. Have a nice day. Hello everyone, actually over here, and this is a kind of an add-on to the full build guide that I did just before. I'm going to talk about the itemization and everything that we want on our character are the build that is the Lightning Lethal Mirage. We are going to begin with our helmet. If you haven't watched the guide, I'm going to explain this really fast, so I do recommend that you check it out. There is also going to be a written one, and this one is also important because I'm going to explain the idols that we use apart from the blessings and items. So, of course, here we have our helmet. I'm not going to explain everything with abilities like I did in the previous video. You only really want at least 2 to synchronize the strike. And then on the other prefix, you can get extra damage with daggers, dexterity, you can get mana efficiency if you want. You can get, for example, you can see here are my 2 mods. You can also get mana, because mana is quite good. Increased mana also, maybe. Now, everything here, critical strike per equipped dagger, no, we don't want one. Poison chance, nothing. Throwing chance, not good. Increased damage is a good one. There's also armor shred duration, we don't really care about that one. Physical penetration and everything else, it's not that important. There's one that is kind of decent, the mana efficiency with synchronized strike, because it's going to cost a lot. And all of the level things are not important apart from the one that we have. For weapons, 2 full grid shards. Right now, the 2 full grid shards that I'm using are effectively 1 LP, because I only got 1 prefix onto them. It's not super hard to get the 2 LP ones with decent mods. Of course, decent mods, the ones that we really care about are the flat damage on Lethal Mirage and the cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is really good, but the flat damage is even more important. Don't forget, of course, the increased lightning damage and the lightning penetration. Those are kind of decent. What we don't care is the increased physical damage on our implicit, because we don't really do physical damage, so we don't care that much about it. Now, the 2 mods that you want are flatlining, but this can be super expensive to get on if you are a merchant. But if you are KOF, you try to get flatlining, then critical multiplier. Those are the 2 mods that I have tried to put. I managed to get here, as you can see, 1, and here also 1. Then I got a stun chance and frailty, but you really want shred armor. It's one of the best. Also bleed helps a little bit to get those 20 stacks for one ability that we use. That is Lethal Mirage, of course. And same here. A stun chance is not bad, and it was the mod that I kind of got in those daggers, so I just stuck with it. But our 4 mods that we ideally want are critical multiplier, flatlining, armor shred, and maybe the last one is like a floater. You can get extra shock to shock with other things apart from Lethal Mirage. Not that important. Our chest, actually, it's not this one. It's the Ursul Sprite one. I just got a Kestrel with 3 LP and slammed a chest. I actually had really bad luck with that chest. I still have it here because I used a rune to duplicate it. So I actually missed 3 times a Glyph of Despair, trying to get Vitality or Void Resistance off, but I got it with extra Mirages and percentage health. It was really good. Now for the mods that we really want. One of those is Core, extra Mirages, and then either Armor Shred Duration, Armor Shred Effect, Armor Shred Effect or Armor Shred Chance. Chests don't have duration. Then you can also get the mana with synchronized strikes if you really want it, because you go really high on coated blades. If you don't know what coated blades is, this one. It's really the highest based ability. So you can do that one. But of course also damage with daggers. And those are kind of the most you can juggle on prefixes. Now for suffixes. Increased health and health are really good. Then any resistance that can help you fail points. And those are kind of the places that I would really get, not apart from those. Now we go for our rings. Our rings, the best ones would be a Siphon of Anguish. You can of course get 2 LP, not super difficult. You want mana regeneration, lightning damage. You want mana regeneration because it's really strong on rings. But if you don't care that much about it, you can get lightning damage and elemental damage. But elemental damage I think is weaker than mana regeneration, as it lets you get higher on coated plates. Now for your belt, Shattered Chains with cooldown recovery. Really good, it gets really high. You can also get HP and other things. It's not that difficult to get a 1 LP Shattered Chains. You can even do 0 LP and it will still be really good, of course, with Siphon of Anguish. For the ring, you can use a rare ring with increased lightning damage and elemental damage, or mana regeneration. Mana regeneration might be better than elemental damage. Then for the suffixes, any resistance that kind of capture things. But the best in the slot would be a Jolra's Star Dial with increased lightning damage and increased elemental damage. Getting a 1 LP1 is really easy. It drops a lot from tier 3 and tier 4 Julra. The hardest part, of course, would be getting the fodder for it. Of course, if you drop a 2 LP, it's going to be really good. Try to get those 2 prefixes. And of course, as always, for suffixes, cap everything on your resistances that you have left. For gloves, you can use rare gloves. Fighting chance are not like a huge damage upgrade, because 84 seems a lot, but we actually have so many percentage increases that it's not that incredible. A 5 mod glove with like tier 1 dexterity, tier 7 dexterity and other things might be kind of similar. You can use, of course, the best bases are the one with cooldown recovery and the one with extra mana. For example, if you can see here, those are some boots that I was using before I got the Bion Charge. But there's also these gloves that I used for fodder. And then these gloves that I was using for a while. These were the kind of ones that I wanted to get. Of course, instead of attunement, you can put strength for extra armor. And it will be kind of good. I was also using these ones for a while because it got extra health. Ideally, you want to use 5 mod gloves if you are going to put these ones. They give mana regeneration and are pretty good. As you can see here. You don't want the critical strike ones, but this one had extra dexterity, so it was kind of good. For boots, you want boots with a lot of cooldown recovery, like these ones. This, of course, it's good because we get less damage from critical strikes. You can also get boots that have just move speed and other things. You can cap critical avoidance and get the extra haste ones. And also use boots just with a lot of vitality or just move speed. Now, of course, Bion's Chariot, really good boots, the best ones. Getting these without LP, it's not hard. You do a tier 3 or tier 4 arena and it drops like a third of the times from Bion. You can also get a Penumbra ring that is kind of decent while doing things, but not the best. Now for relics, the only important mod is 4 to Lethal Mirage. Dancing Strike, it's whatever. Then the important things on your suffixes will be you can get health always, of course, on any of the places where you can get health, and then to cap your resistances, lightning resistance, and in my case necrotic resistance before I put my Omniscene. And for the other mod that is not Dancing Strikes, you can get critical multiplier or lightning damage or even all elemental damage if you chance on that on a Glyph of Chaos. Now, lastly but not least, our amulet. We don't really super care about omnis, it's just to fill my resistances, of course, and this plus to all skills is really good. I also forgot to say that the best relic is a Gambit of an Erased Rogue with +4 to Lethal Mirage and maybe critical strike multiplier or +4 to dancing strikes. For our neck, we can use Omnis, also Bleeding Heart can be really good if you get a 3 or 4 LP one, or just normal rare one. Try to get an Amulet of Life because damage over time is the heaviest damage on this game, and as you can see here, try to get it with Lightning and Elemental or Critical Strike Multiplier. And then usually on the last mod I would want health or of course things to cap your resistances or get some shock or bleed or other places. Now for the thing that is special to this video that I didn't talk about at all on my guide itself, because actually not 100% sure. Idols, there are many ways to do combinations. I have chosen to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of increased health and extra health. As you can see here, they are not top rolls, but at least try to get the 5% health and 20 health. As you can see, some of them I also dropped them myself and others I bought. Now for the little ones, I really recommend to get armor and lightning resistance because in the future you will use the Ursel sprite. You see here also armor and health works. And for our 2 offensive ones, you can use critical multiplier and shred effect or critical multiplier and extra damage while wielding a dagger. There is also big versions of this that you can put 1, but you get extra less multiplier, but you can get more shred effect, up to 90 shred effect, but critical multiplier I think the max is 30. You can put that one here and fill it with 2 more little ones. Of course, one thing that I also did for a lot of time, you can forgo some health if you really want and get 2 more of these here. You can also kind of get the middle ground and use a large one here and get one of these back. But I don't recommend it that much because we already don't have that much health. Now, of course, as for health, you can put a lot more health in your gear if you have a good Omnis and get a lot of resistances there. You can put health like I did in your ring, in your belt if you eventually get a 2LP1, same thing with boots, and in your gloves. You may also get some health in relics and other things. Now I will repeat this part, but if you only watch this video, blessings, really important one, shred lightning resistance, and then I got some things to cap my resistances here. You can get armor or extra dodge chance here, or resistances to cap resistances. And then for shard drops, class shard drop, 100 and unique drop rates. I would get this Winds of Fortune grade 1, maybe, to get more daggers and other things. But those are the most important places to carry. So that is everything. If you want to know about the abilities and other things, you can check out the written guide where it's actually done. I would like to finish it this weekend. Or the video guide if you are more of a hearing learner. It's just the video before this one. I'm also going to put it in the annotations at the beginning if you kind of want to come back. So that's all, and have a nice day. del Gran León. Hello, everyone. GG. Mm. Vale. 6. Vale. Holy shit, they killed Betrayal. Damn. Damn, that's a lot. Pure line max. My dog stepped on a bee. Fly me to the moon. We'll make chicken next time. Wait. Nos vemos, chicos. Buena suerte.